All right, let's talk to the Eagles head coach. It's the 1-0 Birds, as Nick Sirianni obviously is in the early going of his 5th year as the head coach of the Philadelphia Eagles. First time he joins the show since they won the Super Bowl. Also first time he joins the show since they won Week 1. And we welcome the head coach of the Eagles, Nick Sirianni. Good morning, Nick.
Hey, guys.
Hey, hello, Coach. Nick. Well, Nick, since it's the first time, Nick, we've talked to you since, then. And I know you don't want to do a deep dive, and I respect it. But congrats on everything. The Super Bowl, the contracts, congratulations on all of it. And I mean that very sincerely.
I appreciate that, guys. Thank you.
Absolutely. So let's bring it to the here and now. Week 1, you win. One of the stranger games I can remember, and I'm curious if you felt that coaching on the sideline. I mean, first off, you have the banner thing. But you guys are in the locker room. You've got the injury and the ejection immediately. You have a 1-hour delay. You have offenses can't be stopped. And then you have, after the delay, offenses can't score. Did you feel the oddity of that game as you coached it?
Yeah, that's a good question. We know going into game 1 that there are going to be, we tell these guys, here are the keys to a game 1. You always tell the guys what you feel like the keys are to unique weeks. Obviously, week 1 is a unique week, right? And we said expect the unexpected. Now, could I expect all those things that you said? No, but that's life and that's football. There are things that are going to pop up, and our job is to just continue to stay locked in and focused and do whatever we need to do to win that football game. So I was proud of the guys and our coaches that we found a way to win. Obviously, a lot to clean up, but we mentally prepared ourselves for crazy things to happen in game 1. Again, you can't ever predict it, and I can't predict the crazy things that are going to happen throughout the season.
Sure.
I have no doubt in my mind that we'll come across things and we'll have adversity. But that's what you prepare your mind for, and you prepare yourself for those things. And really the way to get through all those things is just be in the moment, and get better from those things. And that's your mindset through an entire season, right? We've talked about, not looking too far ahead, not looking behind, staying where you are. Well, that's the same thing in a game that brings challenges. And every game brings challenges, but particularly that first game. And we got a chance to sit and watch football, this weekend. And I'm sure you guys did as well. And there were crazy things that happened all across the league. That's week 1, but that's really, maybe more so week 1, but that's really common in football. And our job is to mentally stay focused and, be locked into the task at hand, fix our mistakes, and go from there.
Nick, the Jalen Carter thing, do you know yet if he will be eligible to play on Sunday versus Kansas City?
Yeah, I haven't. I'm not going to get into anything that we've discussed with the league or anything anything we do in house. So I'm not there yet. We'll be there. Sometimes you guys get me early in the week, and I don't have a lot of information for you. And I know you guys think I don't give you any information either. I try to let you guys do your job as best as I possibly can, while also protecting. If I had a private conversation with you guys, I would. You would want me to keep that private conversation. Well, that's the same thing that you do in house, and there are things that are sacred to this building, and we keep those things in house, and we'll see, and I'll have more information for you guys as the week goes on.
It's got to be so tough as the head coach. How do you balance the real need for consequences for poor decisions, and then the reality that your job is first and foremost to win football games?
Obviously that is my job, and is to win football games. But you're constantly trying to help guys not only become better football players but better men. And so, and I think that's more important even is helping these guys become better men. So you're always doing what's best, for the team and for those guys in every moment, and everything that. Accountability is so big with our organization, and we have, it's if you brush by mistakes and you don't dive into mistakes, then those mistakes will continue to linger. And I'm not just talking about that incident. I'm talking about everything. There's a death by inches when you don't address mistakes and you don't correct mistakes and you don't hold people accountable. That's myself too, and that's the coaches and the players, and that's everybody. And so, that's what you're trying to do, is constantly get better, and you can't do that without accountability.
How long does it take for a team to develop an identity?
Yeah, that's a good question too. Everybody's a little bit different. Obviously, you have your identity as a team that we want to be tough, detailed together, but that takes time, right? That takes time, and you don't. I think what's important for everyone to know, I'm not just saying fans, media, but our team too, is like there's steps that let's take us back to last year just for a moment. There were steps that took us to the level that we got to last year, right? You don't just pick up the following year and are automatically back there. There are steps that need to be taken to get back to where you want to get back to. And your goal is to be playing your best football by the end of the year. And you only do that through, getting better every day. You only get better every day with constant work. There's no secret sauce to say, hey, bam, this is going to happen right now in this way. You want it to go happen as quick as you can, but there are steps to it. And that's why our job is to be mentally, and I know I get boring when I say all these things, but it's to mentally be where you are right at that particular moment, because the day that you're in is going to prepare you for the week and the rest of the year. And so that's our job in these scenarios, is just to put our head down and work, and it takes time. And like I said, our goal is to be playing our best football by the end of the year.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you mentioned it takes time, and in the passing game, how important is it to force the ball at times to your best players? I think back to like the first 15.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and obviously in our first 15, everybody's number is a little bit different. I won't get into what our number is, but you're always trying to get the ball to your best players, not only in that first 15 to get them going, but also throughout the game in critical third downs and critical red zones and 2-minute football and 4-minute football, whatever it may be. There is no doubt that we have to be able to get AJ. I'm assuming you're talking about AJ the ball, because he's such a good a good football player. What I really admired about AJ was this, and I said this in the media yesterday, that the man didn't touch the ball for 3 quarters, and now we're in the 4th quarter, and we're in a 2nd and 14 in a 4-minute drill, and we need to get a first down to avoid Dallas getting back on the field. And he makes a play on an out in that scenario, stays in bounds, and now we're in a 3rd and 3 to win the football game, essentially. And we obviously were able to convert. Well, 3rd and 3 is a heck of a lot easier than 3rd and 14. So what I really admire, and what you always want to point out, because we talk about toughness a lot, and one of those things is mental toughness. That mental toughness of AJ to be able to, not have a ball all game and then make a play in a critical moment when his number was, called and there, and when the ball was, delivered to him. And so that was really encouraging there. And I also thought that, just to continue to stress just what a great teammate AJ is, and why he voted a captain. He did things without the football in his hands that helped us win the game, whether it was a coverage, helping somebody else get open, or the blocking that he had. When you look at Saquon's touchdown, when you look at his touchdown against, at the end of the first half, we obviously get great push up front. We had a great combination block by Landon and Jordan that really got movement on the defensive tackle. We had a great combination block by Cam and Tyler Steen on the other defensive tackle. And then you have Devontae and AJ blocking their butts off downfield to allow that thing to score. And that's what you want when, and that's what we talk about in our roles meeting, in our, I don't give a lot of you guys a lot of information that happens in those, but, in our roles meeting, it's always, hey, AJ and Devontae and Dallas, this past game runs through you. But what are you going to do when you don't have a game that you expected? How are you going to help this football team win the game when the ball's not in your hands? And that, to me, shows, the togetherness that this football team is trying to build and continue to get better at. They did an unbelievable job of that last year, and it continued into this game. And so I'm really proud of the guys of how that looked, and obviously pointed that out to the football team in that scenario.
Nick, we were struck, and it kind of goes to the messaging you were just talking about in recent weeks when you talked about contributions over credit. Makes a lot of sense to me, and I think of it like an A.J. Brown thing, because he's not going to catch as much as he could in other offenses. And I'm curious, when you come up with these, like last year, you can't be great without the greatness of others, and tough detail together. Do you have an aha moment? Are you sitting on the beach? Are you sitting on the couch? And it's like, whoa, this one. I like this one.
That was catchy.
Let's go with this one. Like, do you solicit the opinion of your parents and your friends? Like, how do you arrive at these? I think they're very sage.
Writing them on napkins and stuff.
How do you arrive at them?
Post-it notes in your back pockets, and they go through the laundry. Oh, no, not that one.
It's like Eminem and 8 Mile John when he's performing Lose Yourself. How do you put it together, Nick?
Yeah, I love watching sports documentaries. I love talking to coaches. I love talking to great players. And it's constantly, how am I trying to evolve I always want our guys, I talk about this probably to a point where you guys are like, oh, I know, I'll get better every week. But, I better be doing that same thing where I'm trying to get better every week if I want them to get better every week. So I'm constantly trying to, I know how important culture is for a football team. And so, I'm constantly trying to find ways to, get better at the message and what the message is. And, you want to say things that are a little bit catchy that sticks in their head. Like I still have a couple sayings in my head that my dad said to me for, now 44 years, that he still says to me, that on a daily basis, when I talk to him, that are stuck in my head, and it's locked in there, right? And so when I have a moment where I need that, bam, that's said. And so, you want to say something that's catchy that can kind of lock them into that, and it's easy to remind them at practice, in meetings, etc. And so I just, and you try to find different ways to say the same thing, like contribution over credit, right? You can't be great without the greatness of others. They're kind of similar, but if I said great, you can't be great without the greatness of others for a whole another year, you just try to keep it fresh.
Yeah.
And you kind of try to find ways to keep it fresh, and evolve at how you say things and the messaging and all those different things. And, your job is to wire these guys to play at their best and come together as a team and play tough and play detailed, and we'll look for any way to do that we possibly can.
Makes sense. Nick, good luck in Kansas City. Obviously, it's a tough spot with Arrowhead and the Chiefs with Andy and Mahomes. I imagine it was more fun for you to go back and game plan for them by looking at the last time you played them than a typical game plan week would be for you. So I hope you enjoyed that, and we wish you the best of luck versus Andy and the Chiefs on Sunday. And we look forward to having you on all season long. Typically 8:40s. Obviously, it'll move around from time to time if you guys have a Monday night game and stuff like that, but often Tuesdays at 8:40, and we look forward to it. Good luck on Sunday, Nick.
Hey, thanks, guys.
Thanks, Coach.
There he is, Eagles head coach Nick Sirianni. 215-592-9494.